Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Tanvir, and today we have a very special episode lined up for you. We're re-diving deep into a topic that many of you have asked about, the Rehan School education system. To help us understand its unique approach and philosophy, we are incredibly honored to have Hafsa with us today. Hafsa is an expert in innovative educational models and has studied the Rehan system extensively. Hafsa, thank you so much for joining us. It's my pleasure, Tanvir. I'm excited to be here and talk about this fascinating system. Fantastic. So, to start things off for our viewers who might not be familiar, what is the Rehan School education system? What makes it stand out from the more traditional methods we're all used to? That's a great question. At its core, the Rehan system is a student-centric model that prioritizes holistic development over rote memorization. Unlike traditional systems that often focus heavily on standardized test scores and a rigid curriculum, Rehan schools emphasize personalized learning paths, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. The fundamental belief is that every child learns differently and has unique talents. The goal isn't just to fill their heads with facts, but to equip them with the skills they need to thrive in a rapidly changing world. This means a heavy focus on problem-solving, collaboration, creativity, and adaptability. That sounds like a very modern and necessary approach. You mentioned personalized learning paths. Could you elaborate on what that looks like in a typical Rehan classroom? How does a teacher manage to cater to so many individual needs at once? Absolutely. It's a common concern, but it's where the Rehan model truly shines. Firstly, class sizes are generally smaller, but more importantly, the role of the teacher is different. They act more as a facilitator or a guide rather than a lecturer. Instead of standing at the front of the room delivering the same lesson to everyone, they move around, checking in with individual students or small groups. Technology plays a big role here. Students use adaptive learning platforms that adjust the difficulty and content based on their performance. So, one student might be working on advanced algebra concepts while another is reinforcing their understanding of basic principles, all within the same classroom. There's also a lot of project-based learning. Students work on long-term projects that they are passionate about, which allows them to explore subjects in depth and at their own pace. So it's less about everyone being on the same page, and more about everyone moving forward on their own journey. That's a powerful shift. What about subjects like arts, music, and physical education? How are they integrated into this system? In many traditional schools, these are often the first two face cuts. That's another key differentiator. In the Rehan system, the arts and physical education aren't considered extras or fluff. They are seen as essential components of a well-rounded education. They are fully integrated into the curriculum, not just treated as separate, once-a-week activities. For example, a history project might involve creating a short play or a piece of music from that era. A science lesson on physics could involve designing and building something, which incorporates engineering and design principles. Physical education focuses not just on competitive sports, but on overall wellness, mindfulness, and lifelong healthy habits. The idea is that these subjects develop creativity, discipline, and teamwork, and also provide crucial outlets for expression and stress relief, which are vital for a child's mental and emotional well-being. It seems to focus a lot on the whole child, not just their academic side. With this emphasis on individual paths and creativity, how does the Rehan system handle assessments and grading? Are there still tests and exams? Parents are always keen to know how their child is progressing. Of course, assessment is still crucial, but it looks very different. While there might be some traditional style tests, they are not the primary measure of a student's understanding. The system relies heavily on what's called portfolio-based assessment. Throughout the year, students compile a portfolio of their best work essays, project reports, artwork, videos, presentations. This provides a much richer, more comprehensive picture of their abilities than a single test score ever could. Teachers also provide continuous, detailed feedback rather than just a letter grade. Parent-teacher conferences are more like collaborative strategy sessions, where the student, parent, and teacher all sit down together to review the portfolio, discuss strengths, identify areas for growth, and set new goals. The focus is on progress and mastery, not on ranking and comparison. That approach to feedback sounds so much more constructive. Now, every system has its challenges. What are some of the criticisms or difficulties associated with implementing the Rehan education model? It sounds wonderful in theory, but what about in practice? That's a very important point, Tanvir. The biggest challenge is scalability and resources. This model requires highly trained, adaptable teachers who are comfortable with a less structured, more dynamic environment. Finding and training enough educators to this standard is a significant hurdle. It also requires a lower student-to-teacher ratio and investment in technology and learning resources, which can be expensive. Another criticism is that some worry it might not prepare students adequately for the standardized entrance exams required by many universities. Proponents argue that the critical thinking and problem-solving skills learned are far more valuable for university success, but it has a valid concern for parents navigating the transition from a Rehan school to a traditional university system. There's an ongoing debate about how to best bridge that gap. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. Looking ahead, Hafsa, do you see elements of the Rehan system being adopted more widely? What do you think the future of education looks like? I am very optimistic. I don't think every school will become a Rehan school overnight, but we are already seeing many of its core principles influencing mainstream education. The shift towards project-based learning, the integration of technology, the growing emphasis on social-emotional learning, these are all ideas that have gained tremendous traction globally. The pandemic, in a way, accelerated this by forcing schools to rethink how learning happens outside of a traditional classroom. I believe the future of education will be a hybrid, taking the best from all models. It will be more flexible, more personalized, and more focused on preparing students not just for a career, but for a fulfilling and meaningful life. The Rehan system provides a powerful and inspiring blueprint for what that future could look like. That's a hopeful note to end on. Hafsa, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. You've given us and our audience so much to think about. Thank you again for sharing your expertise with us today. Thank you for having me, Tanvir. It was a pleasure. And to everyone watching, what are your thoughts on the Rehan system? Do you think this is the way forward for education? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing from you. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next conversation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.